You think your home is safe, you think you paid all your taxes, but there's one type of debt that gives the Canada Revenue Agency the power to seize your property ahead of your mortgage lender. No, that's not a joke. And most Canadians have no idea this exists. Even if you're current on your mortgage, even if your bank is registered on title, the CRA can still take your home. How? That's what we're unpacking today. And we're going to crack open a real Canadian court case, one decided in 2020 that every Canadian homeowner needs to know. We'll actually break down how this could happen and how to protect yourself, and what this means if you're buying, selling, or refinancing in Canada. I'm Linda, one of the Ragona sisters, and around here, we break down the stories that really matter today. So let me ask you something. If you've got a mortgage on your home and you're paying it every month, who really owns the property? Most people would say the bank, at least until the mortgage is paid off. But what if I told you that someone else could jump ahead of the line? That even if your mortgage is current and your bank is registered on title, that still someone who could legally come in and take the home. Not through a shady backdoor dealings, not through a power sale, not because you missed a payment, but because of a type of debt most Canadians don't even realize they missed. And when this happens, your lender has no legal standing to stop it. No warning, no phone call, just a claim. This isn't theory. This is not an urban legend. In 2020, the Federal Government of Appeal ruled in favor of CRA, confirming that in certain cases, they have the legal right to take proceeds from the sale of your home before your lender sees a single dollar. And this is something that every Canadian should know about, because it doesn't just affect investors. It doesn't just apply to businesses. It actually affects anyone who's ever collected GST or HST, filed as self-employed, or thought they were in the clear just because their mortgage was paid on time. So let's get into it. The case is called Toronto Dominion Bank versus Canada, decided by the Federal Court of Appeal in 2020. And at the center of it, a man who owned a residential property, had a mortgage with TD Bank, and had also run a sole proprietorship. Like a lot of small business owners, he collected HST from his clients. But here's the one thing. He never remitted it. Now, you might think, okay, the CRA could just go after the business account. Not exactly. Instead, when he sold his residential home, the CRA claimed that part of the sale proceeds, yes, the money that TD Bank thought it was actually theirs, belonged to CRA. Because under the Canadian tax law, when GST, HST is collected and not remitted, that money is considered to be held in trust for the government. It doesn't matter that the property wasn't technically in the name of the business. It doesn't matter that a mortgage was registered on title. According to the court, the CRA's claim overrides the lender's security interests. They have super priority, guys. Don't forget that. That meant TD Bank, who thought it was first in line, had to turn over $67,854 plus interest to CRA. Yes, even interest. No warning, no fraud, no bankruptcy, just unremitted HST. Let's talk about how that's even possible and what deemed trust actually really means in plain English. So, deemed trust, it's a legal concept in Canadian tax law that gives the CRA serious power. When someone collects GST or HST, whether you're a business owner, a landlord, or an independent contractor, that money technically never belonged to you. Even though it lands in your account, legally, it's already the government's. And if you don't send it back, the CRA doesn't just treat it like any old tax debt. They treat it like trust money, meaning it's theirs. Even if it's been mixed into other accounts, even if it's been used for something else, and that trust attaches to your assets. So when you go to sell your home or refinance or pull out equity, the CRA claim proceeds from that transaction ahead of anyone else. They don't even need to wait for bankruptcy. They don't even need to wait to file a lien. They don't even need to warn your lender because according to the law, that money already belonged to them. This is what happened in the TD case. And the court confirmed it applies even after the property is sold. And that's something else to remember. TD released funds, the borrower took them. The CRA said that was our money, give it back. And the court agreed. So what does this mean for you as a homeowner? It means if you've ever operated a business, even just part-time, collected GST, HST, and didn't remit it, the CRA could pursue your property. They don't forget. And your sale proceeds, they can take a chunk out of that, or even equity you're trying to access. This isn't common, but it's absolutely legal. And as of 2020, it's backed by a court case. So what can you do to protect yourself? Because I know some of you may be asking. Well, let's get into it. First, if you're ever been self-employed or are self-employed, check your GST, HST filing history. Make sure there are no outstanding balances. Even small amounts can trigger this. If you're not sure, call your accountant or check your CRA My Business account. Don't guess, confirm it. Second, if you're applying for a mortgage or a refinance, be transparent with the lender. Most lenders are now doing extra due diligence on self-employed applicants, and for good reason. Some are even asking for GST, HST statements before advancing funds. Why, you ask? Because if CRA swoops in after the deal closes, the lender is the one taking the hit here. And third, if you're buying a home, especially from someone who's self-employed or runs a business, you need to be careful because if they've collected GST, HST and haven't submitted it, the CRA could still have a legal claim on the sale proceeds, even if nothing shows up on title. You won't see it coming. It won't show up on a regular lien search, and CRA isn't required to notify you. But that deemed trust still exists. It gets triggered during the sale. It could delay your closing, or worse, tie up funds while lawyers sort it out. So what can you do? Well, you can make sure your lawyer does more than just a title search. Ask for a tax compliance declaration from the seller, especially if they're self-employed or have run a business. I know. It might sound a little too much, a little too extra, but the reality is some buyers are already protecting themselves in this very way, especially in high-risk transactions. It's not a guarantee, but it's an extra layer of protection. In this market, you don't want to be part of a CRA pullback, trust me. So now let's just wrap this up by going back to the heart of the court case because there are a few more details that every homeowner should understand. Number one, the court ruled that CRA's deemed trust doesn't need to be triggered by bankruptcy, court order, or formal collection. The trust exists the moment the GST or the HST is collected and not remitted. Number two, it applies even if the lender is a secured creditor with a valid mortgage registered on title. In the TD case, the lender did everything right. They followed procedure. They had priority until CRA stepped in. And number three, the court made it crystal clear there's no defense for the lender. No, we didn't know about it. No, we acted in good faith. Or no bona fide purchaser argument. If unremitted GST, HST exists, CRA gets paid, period. It's powerful, it's quiet, and it's very real. So here's what I want you to take from this. If you've ever run a business, even on the side, if you've collected GST or HST and don't fully remember what happened with it, or if you're about to buy, sell, or refinance a home, you need to get clear because one small oversight, one unpaid balance from years ago could put your entire property at risk. And the worst part, you won't even see it coming. This case changed the rules, but no one's really talking about it, so now you know. And if this helped you, do me a favor, hit subscribe. It helps more than you know. And if you're buying or selling in the Greater Toronto area and have questions, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.